through there.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome everyone to our Wednesday, October the 16th, 2024 police jury meeting. We should have some copies of the agendas if y'all need some. Mr. Bill, could we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Stevens.
Here.
Mr. Ruffin.
Here.
Mr. Bison.
Here.
Mr. Taylor.
Here.
Mr. Garcia. Mr. Spovido.
Here.
Mr. Remedies.
Here.
Mr. Byrd.
Here.
Mr. Preston, all jurors are present except for Mr. Garcia. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Bill. Mr. Ruffin, would you lead us in prayer, and Mr. Bison in the pledge, please?
Let us pray. Gracious Father, we thank you once again for the opportunity to come and serve. We pray that the things that we do will be pleasing in your sight. Pray a special blessing on our national, state, and local government. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Ruffin, Mr. Bison. All right, do we need amend the agenda? Don't we have some amendments?
Really?
Let me find them.
Number 5, 23A.
I got you. Okay, I got you. And that's what they're gonna be in those items. Okay. We need to do them individually, one by.
Yes.
Okay.
So I just read them all out and we drop them all at once.
We need to amend the agenda.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion we amend the agenda.
Second.
All right, on item 23. Vote. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It'll be 8.
And one absent.
All right.
What are the amendments now?
On item 20, we're gonna go with item 23A. To be considered adopting policy for accepting of unplatted roads into the parish maintenance system. And do we have any public comment on this item? On the amendment? All right, moving along to item, we're gonna do 23B. Would be introduce ordinance of 6 of 2024 and ordinance for roads, bridges, and ditches. Any comments? All right. Y'all got that one? All right, item 23C would be introduce ordinance 7 of 2024, an ordinance to amend ordinance 3 of 1992, rules and regulations for subdivisions of land in Sabine Parish. Any comments on this item? All right, moving on to 23D, would be consider amending the Parish Transportation Act priority list, replace phase 1 of Turtle Beach Road with Little Flock Road. Any public comments on this item? All right, 23E would be consider approval of a corporate endeavor agreement with the village of Converse to overlay North Zawali Street. Any public comments on this item? All right. And item 23F would be consider approving repairs to the parish-wide grade all with American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds. Do we have any comments, public comments on this item? All right. Was that all of our amendments?
I hope.
We still got some more of the alphabet that we just keep going. All
That's right.
right.
We're going with short meeting.
Yeah.
Also too.
Yeah.
Hey, we have no other amendments. I need a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Got a motion by Bo, and, is that Mr. Barry?
Yeah.
All in favor? All opposed? That motion carries. Item 7, any public comments on, anything on the agenda, any item on the agenda? Now's the time for public comments. Yes, ma'am.
But I'm still concerned about the roads in Yellow Pine. Okay? And Mr. Bison, you have them come down and cut the sides
Have
of the
not,
road.
we've had them everywhere else, but we haven't got there. You're right.
They are cut in Yellow Pine. But they say they was instructed only to cut the main drag. I say, well, why you not cutting down through the lanes like we've been requesting for the last 7 or 8 months? He
Don't
say,
know.
well, I wasn't instructed. He say, I was just instructed to cut the main drag, which is the main road. And it's only one house on that main road. We've been asking y'all to cut the sides of the roads coming down the lanes where people live at. But it's only one house on that road that, on the main drag, as you all call it. But we want the lanes cut where we can see down through there.
Where's that cutter? Is it still down in that world?
Can you and I make a plan to ride out tomorrow? How about that?
Gonna ride out and do something about it,
We're
or
gonna ride out
just ride
and
out and look,
We're gonna ride out and talk to you tomorrow.
okay? All right. Thank you.
And I didn't even know they had got the road. I told Bobby to get the road, but I didn't know they had got it, and I'm glad they did. I know that helped, and we'll get the rest.
But we concerned about where the people live at.
I understand.
What time's good for you?
Huh?
What time's good for you in the morning?
Anytime.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments? Yes, did you have a public comment?
I have several.
Okay.
Now, it's not on your agenda. I understand that y'all are gonna talk about moving the fairgrounds over on the Natchitoches Highway. Is that true?
That's not going to be discussed this meeting at all.
Well, how do I give input into your decision?
Talk to you, your police year would be where I would start.
Okay? So y'all, it says in here that it was tabled and then you're gonna approve it today?
No, sir.
You're not?
No, sir. That's a whole discussion in itself.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So I would, get with your police year. I don't know who your,
I'm just saying there's a lot of unhappy people.
Yes, I understand. I've had multiple calls about that.
But even at that, it wasn't about moving the fairground over there. It was about building up some other facility, wasn't it?
Ball fields.
Arena.
road-
It's still arena,
Be
but
a
it was-
fairground.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That's,
Will there be something sent out for a later date of discussion?
what about the people that live out there? Why weren't we notified that that was discussed?
it really hadn't came to a discussion yet. That's why there's nobody's been notified.
We just heard about it. At the last meeting. Pardon me?
I believe it was discussed last meeting.
It wasn't
Well,
discussed.
yeah,
It was
that-
tabled
The land was
immediately.
donated, possibly donated.
But it was discussed.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
At the table.
Pardon me?
You had to discuss. it.
We-
A landowner came up and said he would donate some property, told the fair board came to us. We just mentioned that and we tabled it for later and we decided that people needs to put a committee together out in the public and they need to have a committee and then that committee does the thing. So, but as far as discussing it, we really have not discussed it. We just tabled it to a later date.
Okay, bring it later.
We hadn't put a date on it. I mean, we have so much that they've got to bring back to us to even know anything.
So the committee's been formed.
No,
No.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, it hasn't got.
No,
that
it ain't
far
even
along.
got
They
that
ain't
far.
To that yet.
One more comment.
Yes, sir.
Why is your agenda not posted on your website before you meet?
It should be.
It is posted.
It wasn't.
Yes, it is.
When?
On
Monday.
It was posted at 3 p.m. on October the 14th, 2024.
The agenda.
Yes, sir. It is. It's stamped. I'll be glad to show you the link and give it to you. And you
Oh,
may have
just
a,
tell me where to look.
I have, it's just want to provide you, make sure you have the correct information.
Okay. Where now? I'm sorry.
It's on the Sabine Parish Police Jury website, and if you go to the meeting gate, if you click on the meeting gate itself, the agenda is in that link.
I did that.
I'll be glad to show you after the meeting if you need me to.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other public comments? Okay. Before I move on, what was your name, sir?
We got one more back.
What was your name?
James Wagley.
Okay.
Get the other man.
All right. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Get his name.
What was your, give me your name before.
Homer Miller,
Homer Miller.
on Shag Bar, the one in, on down to Mid Lake. Road's real dry. Everybody, not everybody, but there's a few of them going down, there, dust is just coming up. Speed limit's 25. Is there any way I can get speed limit dropped a little bit, to make them slow down?
What road is that?
Or is there another?
We can drop the speed limit, but well, that's
I know,
gonna slow them
or is there
down,
another
Homer. I doubt it.
option that, make them slow down beside me, pull in front of them?
That's yours too?
That's your best bet. Pull in front of them.
I do it if I can order my.
That's fine,
What's yours?
unfortunately.
Yeah.
We'll,
It just, I mean, if we ever get rain, it's probably
We can
help,
get-
but
can we change that?
You can always park something across the road.
I don't mind changing the sign so y'all can hand them to.
What is
We can change it, Homer, but you know what that's gonna help. All honesty, from 25 to 20 is not gonna make
But
that
at
much
least-
difference.
At least, if, I have conversation with them, I can tell them, this is 15 now, you need to slow down. So if y'all give me a couple signs, I'll put them up.
We'll talk about
Do
that.
what you gotta do.
Well, it's just, people like to drive fast on every road. We fight that everywhere. But we will try to do something.
All right, appreciate it.
Any other public comments? Not so. Let's move on to item 8. Senator Seabog, is anyone here from his office? Mr. Shamahorn, anyone from his office? Representative Bagley? Moving on to item 11, is anyone here from the Planning Commission? All right, moving on to item 12. Accept the minutes of the previous regular meeting held September 18th, 2024. You guys, y'all got a copy of the minutes?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
So,
We got a motion by Bison, second by, is that Mr. Byrd? All in favor? All opposed? All right, 8, 0, 1. All right. Item 13 is Mr. Stan Haslip, 2025 renewal of PGRMA health and dental insurance. Yes, sir. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I appreciate y'all letting me be on the agenda today. It's my dad Pat here, and we're gonna present the PGRMA health insurance renewal. This year for 2025, they're coming in at a 4.8% increase, with a slight change here in, prescription copays, a little bit of an increase there. Now, to justify 4.8% increase, if y'all look in this renewal package, this page here, this is y'all's loss claim report. Now, there are some sensitive information on here as far as what is on y'all's plan or what's happening on the plan. And reason for the 8% increase is there's a high claim of $102,000 that is trending up, and they're looking at it carefully. So that's the justification of the increase. As far as y'all's claims right now, they're at 77% on a loss basis, which is good. Rule of thumb on that is 100%. It's kind of in the red. So really, the only thing that they're looking at is a large claim that's current, and that's where the increase is coming from. Now, if y'all wanted to try to subside some of that increase, if you look at their renewal packet here, there's a $750 deductible. That's what y'all currently have. And there's also an option to change the benefit to a $1,500 deductible. That would save you about $6,000 a year. Just to give y'all options to save money. So what the 4.8% increase, it comes out to be about $61,000 a year annual. And also too, we are independent brokers. We can put y'all with codes with anybody in the market. However, there's only two to choose from, which is United Healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield. We tried United Healthcare in 2018. That, as you know, was a severe headache, a lot of red tape, a lot of prescriptions not being filled. Blue Cross would love to have you. They'd love to produce a quote for you. However, they're only going to accept the existing early retiree population. So any early retirees coming on in the future, which is my understanding there's 2 or 3, they will not accept that. So in order to move on with Blue Cross and go to a different carrier for a different you would need to maybe think about that going forward. That's just a decision y'all would have to make if you're serious about it.
Do we need to act on this today?
Yes. Really don't have much of a choice.
Bill, you have any recommendations here?
We've not had any bad experiences with PGRMA. They've got a good diabetes plan. It takes care of the medicines free to the individuals. They don't have to pay for anything, not free, but the individual employee doesn't have to pay anything. The deductibles.
Not to interrupt, speak on that. The insulin program for PGRMA is second to none. There's not an insurance carrier that will 100% pay for insulin and diabetic equipment. Bill, as you know, we had some growing pains with that with United Healthcare.
That's terrible.
Blue Cross Blue Shield doesn't even do that. So having that benefit under PGRMA is just a great benefit to have.
One question. Just you have this one big claim that's going on that they're kind of watching to see where it's going to go.
Yes, sir.
If that claim doesn't top out where they think it is, will we get a reduction at that point, or will that be next year?
It would be looked at next year for 2026. Now, once that claim is done and say it's inactive, they'll adjust everything at the same time next year.
Basically what the market is.
Yep. I don't think by changing our co-pays would help our individuals, the individual employees at all. So I wouldn't fool myself. I wouldn't recommend them fool with the co-pay.
It's $750 now, gonna go to $1,500.
Yeah, that would hurt.
That's
Hurt a lot of our employees.
Not,
Sure.
and then for the savings, what kind of savings was it?
To change the benefit package to
No, it ain't worth that.
About $6,000.
No, it ain't worth the
Just
savings.
a drop in the bucket, in my opinion. It's not much.
Right.
The market really.
Well, it's like anything else. You take any type of insurance, it's going up, no
Yes.
matter what kind of insurance
Yes,
it is.
and that's very true. However, there's justification to it. If say there wasn't a large claim on there that's trending up, then it'd be kind of a situation where it'd be a little confusing. Why am I getting close to a 5%? But that's not the case here. there is something they're looking at. There's a reason for the increase. Next year, we can take another look. Hopefully that'd be enacted and we can, get a better deal for you.
Okay.
Do we need a motion?
I don't see where referring it to the finance, we don't have much.
No.
No,
Whatever,
let's see.
John, just go down and say.
If
This
there's
is-
no other discussions or questions, we have a motion on the floor for
I
this.
make a motion, we renew our insurance with Mr. Haslip.
Second.
Second, who was it? Bruce. All in favor? All opposed? All right, motion carried.
Thank you. Mr. Bill, if I can get your signature real quick, we'll get out of here.
Be fine.
Ain't got much hair to get in, brother.
Man, I got plenty of hair.
Pretty well looking at all of it.
I was thinking that myself.
See where it's at. Right here. Will you send me a copy of this?
Anybody got any questions? All you gotta do is look at the insurance at home.
That's it. And everything else.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Y'all be safe. All right, moving on to item 14 is Mr. Buddy Maxwell presented renewal proposal for general liability, automobile liability, and physical damage management liability, employee bond, property, cyber liability, and workers' comp insurance for 2025.
Well, it sounds like I'm gonna be here all day. I'm Buddy Maxwell. I'm with Risk Services Louisiana. I've been handling your property and casualty and your work comp for several years, working with Bill and Ally. My son is here, Jim. Jim's been working for me for a while. I see you guys have some handouts here. If I could borrow a little bit of your we had an increase here as we're talking about insurance going up. We've certainly seen that. If you can pass that down, I'm going to go over this. What I thought I would do is give you just a little background on the insurance business. It's kind of like these folks are talking about. You got 2 or 3 companies that you can choose from. Well, what's happened in the parish police jury business? We've basically had 3 players. We've had Guard, which is a Berkeley company. We've had Hudson, and then we've had Travelers. And Travelers has been the company that has kind of stayed the course no matter what. I handle several parishes, had letters this past couple of weeks where the Guard said they're out of the parish police jury business. Their claims have just been out of control, and it's because of our storms, litigiousness of our area for sure. We're all familiar with that. So we had Guard, and at one time we had left Travelers. We went to Guard, and we got a big reduction in Travelers. We kind of caught their attention because it's just like the businesses you're in. If somebody believes that you don't have competition, you know what happens. There's a creep up of cost, and we're trying to hold those costs down. So we had Travelers come back in. They sharpened their pencil, and they've been our carriers for, I believe, the last 3 years. This year, like I said, they knew they had no competition. So we've had some increases here. And what I'd like to do is go through here and point out the increases by major line, so it kind of makes sense to us what's going on. And that's what Bill and I do, is we go back and forth. We also had Hudson was another player. I believe 2 years ago or last year, we also had Hudson quotas. Hudson came in substantially higher than Travelers, which we thought they would. So Hudson now, they're saying, yes, they'll quote, but they don't want any responsibility or coverage on the equipment. They don't want the property, and they don't want the physical damage on autos. And I thought, wow, so all of a sudden that would force you to go outside and pick up those coverages, which would just cost you probably 30-40% more than packaging it with someone like Travelers. So that's kind of where we are there. As I went through here, you can see that we think our premium this year will be about $365,000, just a little bit over that. That includes TRIA terrorism. normally, sometimes we get a chance, they know we don't think we're subject to terrorism, and the circumstances for that to happen are just very unusual. But with travelers, they put it in there, so we don't have a choice. It's embedded in their quote. So last year, we were 307,000, so we're up 57,690 for this year. That's an 18.7% increase. And I don't have to tell you how the first response from Bill was, why this big increase? Let's really look at this thing and see if we can kind of justify what's going on. So as I did that, we had some deductibles increase. They increased the deductibles on the boiler machinery. The property went from 5,000 to 10,000. That's just to look at what they're seeing in property, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we've had those claims, because we've been pretty good. We haven't had any substantial claims, but still they've increased the deductible there to $10,000. Again, we don't have much choice. That's just what's happening in the business. So as we look through there, I look at the premium increase of 18.7%, and I break it out. I looked at the GL. The GL is up 25,282, or it's up 22%. And again, we haven't had GL claims, cross our fingers there, but the industry as a whole down here, the exposure, they've had a lot of GL claims. And the whole theory of what we're doing is that we're sharing the experiences of everybody around us, particularly in this area. So we had an increase in rates there, basically is what that was. And, of our $57,000 increase, 25,000 was due to general liability. Our property premium increased $5,721, or about 16%. We had an increase in values. They went up about 3% with inflation. But again, we didn't have any claims on property. So it's just a little bit of a rate increase. But again, the $5,000 is not significant to us. Our vehicles, we went up 8 units on the autos. We had an increase in the liability of about 14,083, and the physical damage a little over 7,000. We've got real good rates. If you look at what we're paying, we have what we call blanket coverage. We're paying about $1,300 in liability for each auto we cover. And I know just for my personal life, I'm way over that. So we did a good break on autos. But again, that did go up because we had an increase in some autos, and we had a little bit of a rate increase. So of our amount there, 21,000 was on the autos. Then if you look at equipment values, we actually increased our exposure there by 695,000 something. We took our rented and leased up from 100,000 to 560. So that we had a small increase there. $2,000 is not that material. The increases that we had. Our cyber, we had 3 companies quoting our cyber. We had a Lloyd's of London quote, which nearly sent Bill through the ceiling. So Lloyd's of London came in about 15,000, and we eventually got a quote. Just got it in yesterday from Travelers for 10,825, which saved us some substantial money there. Again, on the cyber. We have one limit that's $100,000 limit that we want to go in and ask them if they'll increase that to 250. And you can see part of this is that we're still going back and forth with these guys to get some things done, but substantially we've got our deal done. But I'd like to ask them to increase that amount of coverage on that particular exposure, which seems to be the biggest exposure for cyber. And that's what they call computer fraud, funds transfer, social engineering fraud. And we think it cost us maybe another $1,100 to get that up to 250 from 100,000. But I'll work with Bill and we'll decide, what makes sense for us there. The balance of the increase was just in your public entity management and your employee practices. Went up about 4,300. Again, we're just seeing those coverages. Employee practices, you got someone who claims that you didn't treat them fairly or whatever. So it's easy to have a claim in that area for sure. On the next page there, we talk about workers' comp, and what I like to do is separate this from our property and casualty and the workers' comp, because they're really two completely different animals in the way that we treat them. This year, we got a quote from Luba. We got a quote of $188,382. And this was compared to last year's expiring premium of $197. So we saved some money there, but what's interesting, in the workers' comp, this is the only area that we've seen decreases. And some of the material published say that workers' comp has decreased about 40% in the last 5 years, which is a real good thing for us. It means we're having less claims, et cetera, in the industry in general there. But the current premium that we saved there, about $9,000. What's interesting there is that our field payroll codes, actually, we increased them by 610,000 and still cut like 9,000 off of our premium. And again, that's because we're making these companies compete with each other. We had Bridgefield, it's interesting there. Their renewal quote was $227,000. Think about that. We got it done for 188. Because what's happening in the business, some of these companies like Bridgefield and Luba, they know that LWCC is really touting their dividend program, and they're a nonprofit company. So theoretically, they can do business for less. They're not making a profit. So they've been taking a lot of the business, but the response from people like Luba especially is that they've reduced their rates substantially. Now, Luba also has an alternative company called Luba Indemnity, which is out of Texas, but we can actually write here. I think next year we will be qualified to be quoted by Luba Indemnity. They were probably 25% less than the quote we got from them, but we didn't qualify for that. But again, we'll look forward to doing that. I think as they look at our premiums versus our losses, we had some big work comp losses over the last 2 or 3 years. You know, you get a claim, it's nothing to have a claim to get to $300,000. And you're sitting there thinking, wow, this person didn't even seem like they were hurt that bad. We actually had LWCC give us a quote. They came in at $224,524. Now we're sitting there looking at that. That's about $36,000 more than our quote from Luba. If you stayed with LWC and they continued to return dividends like they're doing, there could be substantial dividends. Basically, the way that what it looks, the first year you get about 7% dividend. Second year it goes to 12 to 13. And third and fourth year, their dividends get up to 20, 25%. So the question is, do you want to give up where we are? You know, right now, if we decided to do that, it cost us $36,000 this year. I have a hard time because the dividends aren't guaranteed. You know, they tell you that, but they're touting their dividend program. My feeling is that with rates going down and we're getting the competitive quotes we're going, it's not hurting us to stay the course there. So I'm recommending that we take a look. And so this sort of summarizes my presentation. If y'all have some questions, I'd be glad to try and answer it.
Just what it is, it's all going up.
Yeah, and some of our increases are due to increased activity, you know, increases in the autos. Some of them are just because they're there and, you know, we don't have a lot of choices.
No.
We don't have a lot of choices. But we work with everybody that will write a stick of business in the state. So we know where we are and we're out there trying to, you know, our whole deal is for me to communicate with you guys and to get us the lowest rates that we can. And if we do that, hopefully we'll be here next year and the next year. So risk services, I handle about 5 parishes. So more than anything else, it helps me know what's going on somewhere else. And like,
It's not.
one of the things we see some money being coded under irrigation instead of roads, just roads. In the irrigation, some money, but we may not qualify for that. But at least I see that in the different parishes and
Bill and I can talk about that, to make sure that we're getting everything that's out.
What was the total package?
The total package that we're talking about here is on the front page, 365,042.
That's including workers' comp.
Then, no, workers' comp is in addition to that, yes. Workers' comp, 188, 382.
Over $500,000.
That's about a $4,800 a month increase, which is not that bad considering some of it. I just had a horrible increase on my general liability and all my workers' comp and all, 40% increase because Progressive moved out of state since they love Louisiana so much.
Yeah.
And it's just something we gotta fight. Nothing we can do much about it because it's gonna go up.
We do a lot of business in Texas.
No.
We'll have 5 companies over there quoting a year.
Mine, they said there was 4 companies in Louisiana that would write insurance for my business. I had trucks and none of them were cheap at all.
Mm-hmm.
Counting that one into
What was it last year, Bill?
Couldn't tell you exactly.
it was under 5 last year though. Just under.
Per month.
I think it's
Not a great increase.
I think it's really good that the general public will get a chance to see the increases that the police jury is facing, the 2 agenda items that we just discussed. And we'll see, because you see it at home about insurance and liability, how the increase is. But as I said, when I first, a few years ago, came on the jury had more to do than to fix roads. Well, I tell you, these increases in insurance, we have to do that too. And as you can see, we don't have a lot of options
We gotta have it.
available to us. You gotta have it. Even with these increases, what are you gonna do?
You gotta have it.
Everything go up in labor, don't it?
Yeah.
We can jump on everything and pay extra labor.
Just a few.
Few years ago. All right, is there any other questions or discussion on this item here? Any questions, discussions? All right, well, I need a motion. Need a motion on
I
this.
make a motion that we accept Mr. Buddy Maxwell's presentation and his prices because we gotta have it.
Got a motion by Bison,
I'll second it.
second by Byrd.
You gotta do it.
All in favor?
Uh,
All opposed?
Hey. Heard them laughing out there.
So you just don't want to have no insurance.
Rather save that money and put it on the road.
Take your chances, ain't it?
Get by me some gravel.
Motion carried. You got that, Bill?
Appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
for shopping for us.
All right, moving on to, what number on 15? Mr. Stanley Cook, Deputy Coroner, report on coroner's office activities during the period of July through September 2024. Mr. Cook, how you doing, sir?
Good. Good morning, gentlemen.
This is number 3. You heard the last 2. This is number 3.
We're all being hit. Thank y'all for the opportunity to give my report. The last 3 months, we have had 154 calls of service and investigations. And got just last month alone, I had 26 commitments. The drugs is for us with our per capita, 26 commitments is just outstanding. It's just, it's funny that I had 154 investigations. I have 17 death investigations pending today. And guys, I know that
our autopsies, the drug charges, and we're trying to go after these people. I've met with all my chiefs. I met with Mr. Burkett. As far as prosecutorial, you know, we're going after for drug overdoses is driving the ship right now for me. It's driving my commitments. It's driving my autopsies. We have to investigate them, and Mr. Burkett has to have that medical examiner's report to prosecute. It has to be in black and white, you know, heart, respiratory failure due to fentanyl overdose. Dr. Holder can be more articulate than that, but that's what's driving us. And I recently attended a coroner's conference with Miss Morrell, our new attorney general. She spoke to the Coroners Association about the coroners. She said that the opioid crisis is just nationwide. We're losing over 300 a day too, and we're certainly not exempt from it here. She did request that the coroner's offices be the front runner in trying to put out some education and try to get a jump on this for education and prevention. And you can pass this around if you don't mind, but she asked that the coroner's office move forward with a one pill can kill public awareness program. Ms. Morrell said that the Attorney General's office had reached some settlements on this opioid crisis, and the police juries should have some funds coming in from the Attorney General for public awareness. I've already started. We've got a message up on the sign up here down by McNaugh's, one pill can kill. We put together in conjunction with DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, we put together a presentation, about 45 minutes, a PowerPoint, and with testimony from parents, stuff from the DA, staff, official stuff. And we're going to try to get it into the schools, the churches. We're going to really try to get the message out. This one pill can kill. Right now, 7 out of 10 pills, and it's in the presentation from the DA, 7 out of 10 pills that's on the street it has an overdose of fentanyl. And they're pressing the pills. These guys, they think they're buying a lower tab. It's fentanyl. They don't know what they're taking, and it's killing people. And it's driving our ship right now with overdose parish wide. And if there's anything that comes in from the opioids, I'd love to be able to get some T-shirts, caps, something to give out to kids, people. One pill can kill, and try to educate and hopefully prevent deaths and some of the costs that we're incurring in trying to chase all of this. Mr. Bell, thank you for giving me a guideline. Mr. Bell come together and at least give me a parameter of what we were spending, but we've never had an official budget to go by. I appreciate the guide, and we're going to try our best to keep it there, but Dr. Holder, he can speak on the budget more, but I just want to know that, I just want to reiterate, we don't hunt these. We don't go out and hunt them, and to a degree, huge degree, we have absolutely no control over who's overdoses, commits suicide, or dies. And as we look at our budget, just bearing in mind, it's very hard to be compliant with it and be penalized next year if we don't meet it when we simply can't control it. It's impossible for us to control. But Dr. Hope, thank you.
But before that, on that, you mentioned about a recent settlement from the case. Is that recent? Would that be coming in to?
Ms. Morrell said the Attorney General's office had reached a settlement on the opiate crisis. And she said each police jury, they was going to be funneling some funds purely for prevention and education. That's all it could be used for. And, she was directing the coroner's office to try to spearhead it. Because we, in her words, you guys are picking up the dead bodies. We're dealing. And,
So that funding will be besides the funding that we've already received.
Well, that's gonna, that's gonna go into the opioid fund probably. What we need to do is get with, Mr. Burkett and find out what we can funnel through the coroner's office that will be able to be funded by the opioid fund. We got right at $150,000 in the opioid fund that has to be used for opioid.
And we're using it for court right now.
We're
Right?
using it for court and for, I think, an assistant DA.
We will get some of that.
And so, and one, I'm sorry, Mr.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
One other, if I don't ask, I'll be done forgotten.
oh, yes, sir.
Would y'all carry this, campaign into the schools?
That's our
Into their
intent. Yes,
system,
sir.
or- Yeah, okay.
Well, I want to get it to the schools, which is what Ms. Morrell has asked us to do. She felt like the message from the people picking up the bodies, they gonna listen to.
Okay.
And, you know, I can go in with nothing, but my hope is if I can just get, we're not asking, you know, for a huge amount, but if I could just get some cups, caps, pens, pamphlets, anything that I can leave with these, especially these kids.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
one pill can kill. And if you guys ever want to sit down and listen to a presentation and listen to these families, the families on that video is the same thing they're asking me when the coroner comes in. Mr. Cook, what happened to my child? What happened to my love? And it's a fantastic presentation. And we're gonna move forward. We have to. But if I could tap into we don't need a ton, but if we could tap into enough to get some caps, t-shirts, you know, something that I can just get out in my community, to bring some awareness, I think it would pay dividends on this end, on the cost and the investigations that myself and my sister law enforcement agencies and my district attorney are dealing with, right?
So there has been a slight increase on those fees, on the autopsy fees.
Yes, sir. I
everything.
sent that to you. They moved to 200
Yeah.
to 1,500.
How much was it on autopsy?
1,500. It was 13,
They can do
and they
it.
moved it to 15, which is still $2,500 below anywhere else I can get it out of state, in Beaumont or rural.
And for those of y'all that don't know, the reason he's presenting that to us is because the police jury pays for these autopsies
Right.
and all of this funding. That's where they get their funding. And when you look at those bills every month and the commitments, what it cost us, it's
Transport.
substantial. Very.
Transports or the commitments by the sheriff's department,
Mm-hmm.
you know. It's, Mr.
You mentioned at the very outset about the number of commitments, local commit you presenting, because that's what we see in the finance committee too. As running point,
Well-
yeah, that's what we do. That's what we wind up paying for. Is it working? Are we committing the same ones?
It's, and to be clear, the commitments that we do OPCs.
Yeah.
We send them for evaluations for the commitment, but you guys also see our residents that go to Shreveport, they go to Rapids,
Yeah.
they go to Calhoun. We never touch those. That's our people in this parish is getting committed in other parishes, but yet we're responsible for it.
Right.
So we don't even have zero control over all those.
Yeah, we know.
You know, I know.
But
in answer to
I
your
guess what I'm
question-
asking,
Yeah.
are we committing the same ones over and over?
Sometimes, Mr. Ruff.
It's a revolving door. Good morning, gentlemen. Absolutely, it is a revolving door. And where the system is actually broke, it's not broke on this end. I mean, we're doing our job. We're trying to get these people where they belong and where they can get treatment and help. But a lot of times, you know, we'll send individuals off that, in my opinion, I'm not a psychiatrist, but common sense from a physician standpoint, they need to spend some time at this place and get some treatment. Well, that's where the system and the bureaucracy behind medicine right now and psychiatric is broke. And they're sending them right back, they're boomeranging right back here.
Yeah.
5 days, a week later, 2 weeks later, they're off their medications. And we're out there scooping them up again.
That's what I've seen. We got a man right there that's been dealing with this for a couple of years.
Yeah, Mr. Wagner and I go way back. We
Yeah.
work together.
But
Yeah,
you
he
know,
says it.
I've seen them go up and then they stay up there 2 or 3 days and they're right back out there.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know I could say anything, but I'm gonna say this. The Sabine Prevention Alliance, which has been in existence for 6 years now, this is one of our targets, and we have a lot of resources to hand out to give people. So if we can partner with you,
Absolutely.
that won't cost you nothing.
Don't say me wrong.
Yeah, we can do that. Also, my question is, sure, they go in for triage, and they go in for evaluation. The services to keep somebody clean and sober need to be local. They're not gonna live in that residential, they're not gonna live up there, they live here. So we need to make sure we have the resources available, which are much less expensive for people to get outpatient services that are directed toward opiate addiction. And not only that, there's some other things
Well, meth.
coming out that are pretty dangerous.
Our meth overdoses, our overdoses is horrible.
Exactly.
It's terrible.
All right, so we have, and we go into the schools, we have a lot of good research-based videos. It's about a 20-minute video with pre-test and post-test, so you know if the kids got it or not. Doesn't mean they'll use it, but do they have the information? We do that, we do bi-weekly at Spark, and any school that'll let us in the door, we provide those information classes.
And,
We'd be very happy to work with these fellows.
you know, and also, Mr. Wagner, regretfully, gentlemen, you wouldn't believe, but we're having to commit 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
I'm not sharing any names, but I can share the situation. We've had the young lady that she was 10, that was in Zawali, trying to put poison in her daddy's drink. That's what we're teaching.
These 12-year-olds, they getting it prenatal or what's giving them the addiction?
We've got 12-year-olds testing positive.
The environment.
Yeah,
The environment.
And
They got it out of their mama's sock drawer.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Or a sibling in the house. I mean, once again, there's other issues normally around juvenile that's contributing to, giving them what they need to cope with what we have.
But the question that we did have, gentlemen, this Mark was going to talk about this, but our concern was, Mr. Bill did give us a guideline, and we appreciate it very much. But dealing with things that we can't control, in the guidelines, it said if we went beyond this, we would be penalized the next year, and we wouldn't even get what we just got. And it's things that we can't, we have no control over.
Right.
So Dr. Holder,
Yeah.
that was one of his big questions. How would you guys work with us on that when we deal with things that we can't help?
From my standpoint, I don't want to cost the jury or the taxpayer a red penny more than we have to. That's why when we have an autopsy or we have a victim or death, that we discuss it. I mean, they call me 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, what do you think? And, if there's any question, morally and ethically, we have to move forward with that. This year is going to be a record year, in my opinion. We look at our numbers now, from commitments to deaths, it's going to be a record year. You guys have been very generous. I'm grateful to each and every one of you. We have moved this office forward in a lot of ways, thanks to you guys alone. But with these increases going up, I know it's kind of hard to put a figure on the entire coroner's office. Now, if you want to break it down, budget us so much for operational, meaning, for equipment, education and whatnot. Yeah, we get $750 a month, which, we're stretching, and a lot of times we go well beyond that. But, we cannot predict the number of commitments or deaths that are going to come up in a given year. And the last thing we want to do is have that affect our operational budget, because then that'll put that in jeopardy. So, I'm not sure what the answer is. That's kind of up to you guys, but I just would like to.
Well, unfortunately, the problem is growing. Unfortunately.
Well, Mr. Ronnie, we haven't got holidays yet.
And
Suicide
there's no end in
spike.
sight.
And that's why our concern is being capped and punished next year, when we don't even know what's gonna happen. We just want to bring that. to you guys.
I would like to, make a recommendation. Mr. Gruffin, he's the chairman of our finance committee,
Yes,
but, next week, we'll have a finance committee next week. If y'all could come and sit down and we'll go back and look at
yes, sir.
at your logs on what you got, and nobody knows exactly how much, but we need to, we get the information from y'all, financial, what you need, and then for your promotional deal. And that would be the best time to discuss this, is in
Okay.
finance, and let's Mr. Bill and Miss Allie be here with us, and we'll get it all worked out. We'll do what we can do.
Sure.
Oh, you always do, and we're very grateful.
And we can
for it.
bring you some hard numbers.
Yes, yes, yes.
Which right now, of course, we do not have.
Right. Yeah. So next week, I don't know what day it's gonna be, probably it'll be
But y'all
next
just
week.
let me know.
Get y'all's numbers together, and we'll all sit down and see what we can do.
Good deal.
Good,
deal.
Mr. Rhodes?
That's good.
Yes,
That's
sir.
good.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
You'll bring it back to both.
Before they leave,
Bring them
can I
back
say
to
one
Bo.
more
You'll be
thing?
here next week now.
Do what? Go
Can
ahead.
I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
There's a town in Louisiana that it's sort of like Natchez, you got the river runs through the town on the mention. And they had a crisis where kids were falling in the river downtown. And so the whole town was gathering around pulling kids out of the river. That was happening every day. Well, there was one guy who was kind of the leader. He left, and they were like, "Hey, we're out here. We came off our jobs." And they went and found him, and they said, "Well, what are you doing?" He says, "Well, we're pulling them out of the river. I went downstream to find out where they're falling in."
Yeah.
That's what prevention is. You have to look at the risk factors that are out there that are causing it, and what are the protective factors? What keeps people between the ditches? And so these guys are pulling them out of the river.
Yep.
You wanna go find out where they falling in.
We need to focus on where are the guardrails so they don't fall in the river.
And that's where that's where the Attorney General is pushing the coroner's offices now. We're trying to get out ahead of it and
Prevention.
Exactly.
pull it back
Is
just a little bit.
a science in how you do it. And it's identifying the risk factors that are causing it, and what are the protective factors that are keeping people straight. I'll tell you, one of the best protective factors Sabine Parish has is the 4-H junior leaders. That's a group of kids that do all kind of volunteer work. Plus, I mean, they get education, but they're really kept between the ditches.
That's right.
So I showed it.
We all know if
Thank
you
you,
don't
sir.
stop it in the youth, it's,
Oh, yeah.
that's where you gotta stop it. You gotta slow it down there at least.
And the other thing, Mr. Ronnie, and we'll be out of your way, but one thing we're gonna try to educate kids on now is they've got to understand that they just give somebody something now, and they die from it. That's life.
That's,
And we're making, with our efforts with the district attorney and our sister agencies, the sheriff's office, Pleasant Hill, we're all working in Florida. We're having them everywhere. There's no place to see them. Manny, we're working, y'all, Mr. Ruffin probably know, but we had one recently, If we can just if we can get everybody educated, that if they give somebody a pill, not knowing what it is, they think it's Tylenol, and it
Right.
kills them. The coroner's office, we're doing a full autopsy, we're doing a full investigation, and we sit down with these agencies, and we're ruling them homicides. And we're trying to go after it. But we can't do it without your guys' help, obviously, because y'all
Right.
are having to eat the results of it financially.
No, the parish
The
is.
parish,
The-
the taxpayer.
The taxpayer.
We just
We're
divvy
doing-
out the funds. The parish is eating the
We're doing our
results.
very best to run a good
And I
office.
appreciate
and do our-
that.
Do the job right.
Bill,
I appreciate that because it does, it's very expensive, you know, on our,
Okay.
on the people's.
you're gonna research to see how much of this opioid money can be diverted to these areas and offset it from our general budget, correct?
That's right, I'm gonna talk to Don and see if they qualify. I think it will.
Yes, it
And
sounds
so if
like.
we
That
can
would be good.
save
We
some
can
money
use
from
some of that.
it's just sitting there.
Yes,
So that's exactly where we're going with it.
Good.
I lied, I got one more thing to say. The state does the Caring Communities Use Survey that surveys, every 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th grader. Not every school in the state takes that survey, but Sabine does. And it gives you a ton of data on, all kind of substance use as well as aggression in school. And it also gives you data on what protective factors are there or not there. I'll be happy to bring y'all, it's about like that. But,
When you
I'll
sit
get
here,
it. If you want a copy to read that, it gives you good evidence-based data. And it got they take it every 2 years. So we've been able to reduce underage drinking by almost 50% in the last 5 years.
Well,
And that's all based on CCYS data. Now, the other stuff, I'm not saying we're controlling substance, but the other stuff, vaping, all of that, which also can have fentanyl in it. It can be one tote, big deal.
right.
it does.
So, but
You reducing on one end, they going to the other.
the CCYS data, I'll be happy to provide y'all with a copy of it.
Now this has grew into a full-time job. It don't quit. My phone never quits.
and it's a never ending battle. We know that. We complain about our costs, but it's nothing. We know we got them. But I'm still gonna gripe about them.
That's okay, Mr. Ryan. You
I look at the bills, I'm on that finance committee and it
Yes,
just,
sir.
it's heartbreaking to see how many people go in, the commitments, and then next month, same names a lot of
In
times.
fairness, the doctors in Brentwood, and they opened up, they've redone the facility. And we, to say I've had good success there would be, we've had some success. But Mr. Ronnie, you know, the doctors, and they're experts. They try to help people, but we all know you don't want it.
You gotta help yourself.
You gotta help yourself. And then they come back, then they attack people in the streets, and they're running up and down the streets, having Jesus' baby in the middle of Highway 6 out here. And this is just a few. That's why one of my corners got assaulted. You know, it's just what we deal with, Joe.
We know.
Thank you.
Thank
y'all
you.
for what you do.
Thank y'all.
And yes, sir, if you don't mind, you can bring that information and just leave it and they can put it in our mailboxes and we'll have that info. Thank you for that.
Fresh copy. They just, the most recent data we have is 22.
Okay.
So they've done the survey, but it hadn't been, University of Lafayette, the P-Card Center is the group that does the research. They correlate all that data and puts those reports.
Okay.
I'll get you the most recent
All right.
stuff.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving on to item 16 is to proclaim the month of October. What's that? That's something.
I like how you put that on the bill.
Dysautonomia.
Awareness Month. Do you know what
What's
that is?
dysautonomia?
I don't
It's
even
a
know.
group of medical conditions that result in a malfunction of the autonomic nervous system.
And we gonna declare that?
Yeah.
All right.
Got a motion by Bo and a second by Bison. All in favor? All opposed? All right, motion carried. Thank you, Bo.
You're welcome.
I'm glad I didn't have to read that.
That's what Bo does.
Yes. What we on 17?
17.
To review proposals and name fiscal agent for the Sabine Parish Police Jury. Sabine Parish Police Jury solicited proposals for fiscal agent until Monday, September the 30th at 10 a.m. At that time, 4 proposals were open and read aloud. Proposals from the following banks were received: Bank of Montgomery, Citibank and Trust Company, Community Bank of Louisiana, and Hancock Whitney. The Finance Committee met on Wednesday, October the 9th at 9 a.m. to review the proposals. RFP score sheets were then completed by the committee members present and Mr. Secretary of Treasurer and Assistant Secretary of Treasurer. The committee's recommendation was to name Citibank and Trust Company as a fiscal agent for Sabine Parish Police Jury.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir. You have this, y'all have a copy of the score sheets that we done.
All right, this is probably really hard on me. Cause I got really good friends both sides of this deal. But my phone's blowing up this morning already on this deal. That it wasn't tallied right. Is there any way we could let these 2 banks present this to us? Like,
That's what we met for the other day.
I know, but
Which one? What you talking about? 2 what? What 2?
Citibank and BOM. That's the only 2 that's up for it. The other ones didn't even reply. So I mean,
Right.
I guess we're worried about them. Here we got one here that they're saying that BOM's been here only 4 years. I mean, I know that's not true. They've been here at least 10. The tallying of the points is not fair. Is what the gripe is, and we're talking about the most money we can save our taxpayers. And I'm just trying to be fair, Brandon.
I wish they could have been
promise
here.
you.
I wish they could have been here for that, Bo.
Well, I do too.
We needed them to be here
I do too.
to speak up for that.
There wasn't one, but one financial bank was here, and
they came.
The city, they came.
They just came and observed.
The finance committee done their job as proposed. It was,
And I was out of town. I'm sorry about that.
Mr. Bison, you were out of town.
I was
Big
too.
Bo was out of town. We made our decision with Mr. Bill and Allie. They reviewed everything. We looked at the interest rate returns on it. This is our best deal.
What did they do? Make a motion on it?
Sir.
We just need to make a motion.
Yes, the finance committee makes the recommendation with, Mr. Bill and Miss Allie was here.
So what did we receive with interest rates and all? Y'all don't. That's what we went over
Yes.
the day I wasn't here.
Yeah.
We went over all the interest rates. You have the package here, the mail.
They submitted,
Yeah, I know they did.
yeah.
Yes. And you can look at the 2 and
Well, roughly, one thing that Citibank did is put a floor on the interest rate paying us for our deposits of 1.5%. They also beat the lowest interest rate that I was able to obtain. They were guaranteeing a 6% interest rate on funds that we borrowed, which was lower than the others.
Mhm.
That's 2 things that were good.
There were two areas.
If
that
a
were where the
decision has
numbers
been
were great.
made, we need to
And
vote on it.
so, I mean, when we talk about saving, our job is to, invest and spend our money wisely, and that's what we done. I mean, that's our best deal. So,
But everybody's mind made up, so I mean, that's what it is.
well, mine is, not everybody.
Okay.
So,
Unfortunately, I was out of town.
I was too.
Love to have been here. I've not missed any finance committee meetings. That was the first one. But, with intelligent minds made that decision based on the facts that they had and what we're getting out of it. So I say, let's bring it to a vote. I'll make a motion that we vote to accept City Bank.
but I also want to point out that each and every juror had the information and the proposals to review themselves. True? So anyway, any other discussion on it? Questions?
Got a motion on the floor.
I made a motion.
Got a motion by Bison, second by Bruce. All in favor? All opposed?
What was that, 8-0?
That was 801.
801.
801. See it? They'll be contacting you, or you'll be contacting the city bank.
I think he's in there.
Okay. Y'all got any comments or anything, or y'all good? Okay, y'all get with Mr. Bill and he'll get y'all lined up on it. Thank you.
Brandon.
All right, moving on to item 18 is to review and award bids for GPS assisted compaction equipment for the solid waste landfill. The Sabine Parish Police Jury accepted sealed bids for GPS assisted compaction equipment for solid waste landfill until 10 a.m. on October the 4th, 2024, at which time the public bids were open and publicly read. We had, two of them.
Mhm.
One was SciTech, Louisiana. The bid price was $277,426.50. And Geotech came in at $201,413.63. But the bid on that Geotech was rejected because it did not meet the bid specs. So y'all have those copies of those bids in your packs too, if you want to review them. The Solid Waste Committee had made a recommendation to go with this SciTech. Mr. Pete, you got any input on this? He's our landfill operator. You have any input on this, on the decision, or?
Well, SciTech met all the requirements, specs, got top companies, several of them, and then they also, when they put in their bid for a top company, it was for one piece of equipment, and the bid stated, dozer and two dozers in the compact. So that's why they come in lower. Then several of it they wouldn't give us, compaction density, wouldn't give us compaction ratios, and that's what we're looking for. And we're looking for the free airspace to buy us more time to spend more time in the sale, which in turn benefits the parish because that's more money that one particular area can get, and you get the maximum out of it, which guarantees the whole parish that they put in there and get money back. And expands the life of the landfill. And there were several things that requirements that they did not meet at the time. And so when we had our solid waste committee meeting, I pointed this out and went studied it very good and give it to a copy of Mr. Bill and Ms. Alley and termination.
Thank you, Pete. Any other discussions on this? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. We
Got a motion by Mr. Ruffin,
I second.
second by Mr. Ramirez. All in favor?
Uh,
All opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, item 19 is to authorize the president of the police jury to enter a capital lease agreement with Citibank for the purchase of GPS assisted compaction equipment for a solid waste landfill.
Make that motion.
Second.
Got a second by Bo. I mean, a motion by Bo, second by Mr. Ruffin. All in favor? All opposed? Already in business, huh? All right, moving on. You didn't have to read none of that. You good? Okay. You don't feel like
He
reading?
don't need to read nothing, he can't talk.
All right.
It's your gate.
Consider OHSEP's request for funding for 2024 EMPG. During the October 9, 2024 Finance Committee meeting, the Director of the Office of Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness presented the amount to be received from the 2024 Emergency Management Performance Grant. The amount of the 2024 grant is expected to be $51,127.19 and is 100% refundable to the police jury. The director stated that the police jury paid approximately $57,500 in salaries in 2023 for the director and the deputy director. He has requested that the salary amounts remain the same for the upcoming year. This request will cost the police jury an approximately total of $6,372.69. The Finance Committee has recommended to approve the request for funding desired by the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. So, it'll cost us $6,372.69.
Did we hear from them as to, how long this is supposed to go? Because the director and the assistant going to earn about the same.
Yeah.
About the same amount.
Yeah.
I contacted Mr. Davis, and he told me that he expected to work through the following year.
Through the following, 25.
I'll make a motion, we grant, we grant that funding, $6,000. They do some good every now and then, so we need it.
This office is like a lot of other offices. They require to do this and do that and just training and, for these disasters and things. There's a lot of educational stuff that they have to do.
Is that a motion?
I got a motion by Bison,
I second that.
a second by Mr. Ruffin.
It's not a difference, a lot great difference in the funds. We just need to know how long we're gonna be doing it like that.
Right. And when we have problems.
Which is actually, Mr. Bill, this cost here is actually down from last year. Because that grant,
20% refund.
because that grant is 100% refundable, correct?
Right.
Yes. So I got a motion by Bison, a second by Mr. Ruffin, all in favor. All opposed. All right, motion carries. All right. Item 21 is authorize the Secretary of Treasury to request an opinion from the Attorney General.
Won't you just ask me?
Bo, can I request an opinion from the Attorney General?
No, ask me the opinion you want. I give you opinion.
Whereas the police, you want me to read it out, Mr. Bill? Whereas the
Yeah.
police jury has purchased a pug mill and will operate it to produce oil sand for the use by the road department. And whereas in this is a question as whether the police jury can sell excess oil and sand to other governmental entities. So that's what it's about. So we have some, if it's possible, and what oil sand we have over our needs, the surrounding parishes would probably be interested in purchasing some of that and kind of get on the, which DeSoto has done it in the past, you know. I figure they may be interested in also maybe Natchitoches to give them access to some, to help them with their roads, so. And that's all the
If
question.
in fact we have an overage.
Yes, if we have an overage.
For a
We're
long-
definitely gonna
for
get
a
that
long
opinion
time,
on
we're
that.
not gonna have an
That's what I'm
overage.
saying. A long time before we're gonna have any extra.
But it's gonna be a long time before we get to an opinion too, so.
Then it's just an opinion.
And then it's just an opinion, so. But anyway, we wanna cover those bases.
I'll make it.
I got a motion by Bo,
I'll second.
second by
Yeah.
Demetrius. He beat you to it. All in favor? All opposed? All right,
Send it on, Bill. Ask him what is he?
ask him what you,
Yeah, give us an option.
and item 22 was considered an ordinance concerning noise prevention and prohibit the practice of known as jake braking, motor braking on Highway 6 and Highway 171 near all entrances in Manny city limits and providing for penalties for such.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
We ain't got to do that.
Who said it?
Bruce.
Bruce.
Let me find where I spoke over here. So I got a motion by, who's that, Bo?
Yeah, second by Bruce.
Second by Bruce. All in favor? All opposed? All right, motion carried. I see it now. I was looking at wrong. All right, now we're going on to item 23. Is consider adopting a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit on Lighthouse Road located in Ward 2, Road District 16.
Make it, Barry.
That's mine.
That's yours?
The road's already there or all around.
You make the motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Put up the signage.
I got a motion by Barry, second by Bo. All in favor?
Alright.
All opposed? All right, motion carries.
Now we're getting into the meeting.
Now we're getting into the A. Consider adopting policy for accepting unplatted roads in the parish maintenance system. Mr. Hughes? Let me dig and find.
Everybody look for this. This is the packet. It's like 4 or 5 pages in. We're only looking at the front page today. So road shop committee's met twice. We discussed this. And the recommendation of the road shop committee is for the jury to consider approving this. We've talked about changes in next meeting. I'm sure we'll talk about some other changes that we discussed. We're not going to do those today. But this is what we currently do. This is just putting it in writing. The only change is that 2A is that we're specifying what material we want on roads. Other than that, it's what we do.
There was a minor change on the depth of the asphalt also pointed out. It was, the other one had 1.5 inches and
Well,
that.
that's what we're gonna do next time.
Okay, I got you.
This mirrors that, but the change is. what we're
Okay,
gonna do
I
next
got
month. Yeah, that's on the subdivision planning policy.
You're gonna use them all.
I make that motion.
Okay, y'all want to, give them a minute to, see if we got any questions, if y'all want to go through, basically all, the front page is the only thing at
All
the
we're
minor.
gonna talk about today.
Yeah,
What roads are these?
These,
Unplatted roads as opposed to the subdivision
well,
roads?
these are just anything that's not a subdivision. So if it's, like we talked about, last month, we talked about, on Parish Roads, Beach Finance, the road that we had looked at that had been a parish road, or it had been maintained in the past by the parish. Never on a road wall, but it's a road that just kind of got missed and it got brought in the system. Sometimes we have roads that we realized a few months ago that was, out off the lake.
yeah, he has to get it to that spec.
And it was a road similarly that had been maintained by the parish years ago, very short road, 2 houses on it. Never needs much maintenance. When they called us for maintenance, we realized that it's not on a road wall. It was maintained maybe 10, 20 years ago as a parish road. It's in good shape, but it's not on a road wall. We just have to have some sort of policy for what we do. And this is just establishing a written policy of kind of what we do.
I'm a little confused.
Okay.
So on that particular road, we've been maintaining it. You decide, okay, it doesn't meet these qualifications, we're not gonna continue to maintain it. Who do you think's gonna maintain it?
Well, if they want it to be, remain a parish or become a parish road, and the residents will, but these are our written policies. We have to have policies, right?
If we've been maintaining it, it should be meet the
Well,
standards.
so I'm talking about, when I'm referring to maintenance, I'm just giving you 2 examples of roads that we've recently looked at. I thought I might refresh your memory. But in those cases, those are roads that were maintained maybe 10 years ago by previous jurors or a previous jury under different thoughts and different mindsets. Now we have, what do we say it was 8, 9 years ago, Bill?
Yes, it
That
was
we
about 9
established that this, not you and I, but this body established a written road law. And at that time, we established what a parish road. Some of those roads didn't make it on that list, you know what I mean? But now maybe they meet the criteria because they have multiple.
They
residences.
didn't make it on that list, but we've been maintaining.
Well, we haven't since.
I haven't
On our
since.
list. Maybe at one time they were. Now, maybe they meet the criteria. Maybe somebody's put some, put material on it. But we had evidence of those being maintained. I was just giving you 2 examples of roads that.
Why were those roads left off the list then, Bobby?
I don't know. I wasn't here when the list was created. I don't know.
And when you go back and, through the years, you just come up, somebody talks about a road and you go and you look and you fill this form out. You go through this whole policy here and it talks about the road, how you adopt them. It talks about, this is what it takes to get a road adopted. Besides, not development. Developments are a whole different.
I just have some concerns
Yeah.
that we've got a road that we've been maintaining for 15 years and now we're not gonna maintain it. And you throw it on the homeowners who haven't been maintaining.
I think one of the things that happened there is that we went through those roads. For an example, we found out that some of those roads did not serve a public purpose. So they were left off the list.
Right.
I think that's one of the reasons.
And then there are some roads that just were overlooked altogether. It was one in 10 that,
Yeah, I know, we've
Yeah,
added some roads
Yeah.
to our list. I understand that.
Yeah, but
Well,
you're
thank
talking
you.
about
I
the
think
ones
you
that were left off.
You can open up a can of worms when there's 4 inches of a specific material that's gotta be put on. I've told y'all that before, and I think that's gonna be,
We got a road, got 4 inches.
I ain't got a road in Ward One's got 4 inches of rock on it.
Well, but
And
we
this
don't-
is
we
all
don't
the taxpayers in
wanna-
Ward
We don't
One.
wanna accept substandard roads either.
Well, I get
You
that,
don't
Mr.
wanna
Barrett.
take a road you gotta build, so you want some qualifications.
But you expect but you're gonna expect these people to pay taxes in, say, Ward One, but then they gotta pay their own rock money to put 4 inches on their road.
When most of the roads they're not going.
That's what I'm getting at,
to get it accepted.
to get it accepted, and then we ain't gonna put no more on. We ain't gonna put no more on to get it 4 inches. Cause I ain't got none on, I ain't got 4 inches on
You
the
need
road.
to keep some of that rock budget for
Yeah, y'all. Y'all know I'm telling the truth here.
We have
But-
to adapt.
but the
to
point
something.
is,
You got to have
go
a
back.
guideline, I agree.
You go
Do you
back.
have to accept 4 inches?
That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm going through.
Compacted.
Okay. The policy that was, this policy here that we reviewed, we looked at it in our workshops, me and Bird. But all it's doing is saying, this is the same as we've been doing. All of this is the same. The only thing we done, correct me if I'm wrong, is label what kind of rock. You're not gonna come and put black rock there and expect it to be brought in. You're not gonna come and make a substandard road and expect us to accept it and then a year down the road, we got sinkholes in it that we done accepted something that's not a good quality base, correct? Am I right?
And,
So that was the whole point of this.
and I get the statement that most of our roads don't have 40-foot rock on them. I get that. But I also say, I've said this before, so I don't make the feelings hurt. I also say, you can't say that because every one of us at this table know that over the last few years, we've been hell-bent on building our roads better.
I agree.
We've been hell-bent on bringing rock to our roads. And our roads, most of our roads in today's time is better than it was 5-6 years ago. So
Definitely.
we're steering that way. You know, we're progressing.
Not all roads have it, but a lot of them do. Now, see, Bo's only pointing out his road.
Well,
Bo hadn't been and looked at my road.
I could point out something, yeah, but you rich up there in Converse area. No, I don't want to hear that crap.
So
We got all the money in the world.
We can go parish wide.
Yeah.
Our movement is that direction.
We ain't got all that natural
Oh, he
gas
go
up
to
there in
Mr.
my area.
Ruffins and he got blacktop.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
Kenny John, yeah, they got 2 miles of dirt road.
But yeah, you know, it's taken years to get to where we do have that amount of rock under there. You know, so and that's
And
the
I'm
whole
hoping about
purpose
2
is,
years, I don't buy no more rock. I want oil.
I mean, you too, Ronnie.
you know, and we've
Just
seen.
keep in mind what we have. We're moving over from a system that accepted that. And we're trying to improve that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, I mean,
Because
I've told
at
y'all
one
this a
point-
bunch though.
Well, you know, back in the old time, in the old police jury.
When you started.
system, no, way before me. Well, they had the ward bosses.
They had a police jury before you.
No, not me. But then, you know, we could go around and do roads, accept them in the system because the ward bosses said so.
Yeah.
And we would go out and put rock and put gravel on them and nobody would know about it but that juror. But that's changed now.
Insurance, help change that.
Yeah.
But I mean, just like the Black Rock deal. Yeah. Okay, well, and I agree with you 100% on that. But when they can't put that on and they see us put a mile of it out, you know, then what do you tell them? How you explain
There's
that?
gonna be a few instances where that's a problem, but we just gotta work through that.
Okay.
It's gonna be very few.
Okay.
Most of the roads
I
that
don't
serve
think
us a purpose are in the system.
Yeah.
You know that. How
Oh,
many
yeah.
have you picked up that wasn't in it?
I have.
There you go. Do we need a motion to adopt?
I need a
this?
motion on
I
this.
make a motion, we adopt this policy.
I make that way forward.
Excuse me,
Okay.
I'll second then.
Where we at? On item,
Yeah.
that was
Three.
Bird and Bison.
Okay. Got a motion by Bird, second by Bison. All in favor? All opposed? All right, 8-0-1. All right, item 23B is to introduce an ordinance 6 of 2024, an ordinance for roads, bridges, and ditches. The Sabine Parish Police Jury desires to adopt an ordinance regarding roads, bridges, and ditches in Sabine Parish. The first step in this process is introducing an ordinance for this purpose. Secretary Weatherford then introduced the proposed ordinance by name.
I'd like to introduce ordinance 6 of 2024, an ordinance for roads, bridges, and ditches.
Are you gonna read that ordinance?
Don't have to, it's by name.
Okay. And what is it proposed to do to roads, bridges?
Notifies the public that we're going to look at an ordinance next meeting that's going to address roads, bridges, and ditches.
Okay. Do we need a motion?
So they could look at ordinance 6 of 2024.
They can look at a draft
They could look at a draft of it
mhm,
before the
before the meeting.
before the meeting.
For a law to pass, it has to hold up an ordinance is a law. It has to be introduced a month before it's adopted.
Yeah, Ronnie.
All right. So item 23C is introduce ordinance 7 of 2024, an ordinance to amend ordinance 3 of 1992 rules and regulations for subdivisions of land in Sabine Parish. The Sabine Parish Police Jury desires to adopt an ordinance to amend ordinance 3 of 1992 regarding rules and regulations for subdivisions of land in Sabine Parish. The first step is to introduce the ordinance for this purpose. Mr. Weatherford will introduce this ordinance by name.
Okay, I'd like to introduce ordinance number 7 of 2024, an ordinance to amend ordinance 3 of 1992, rules and regulations for the subdivision of land in Sabine Parish.
We need to adopt that ordinance.
Okay. Moving on to 23D is consider amending the Parish Transportation Act priority list. Replace phase 1 of Turtle Beach Road with Little Flock. Mr. Hughes, you want to address that? Don't we have, didn't I see a copy, of our PTA?
So the way we have it now is road numbers. If you look on page 2 of 3, currently road number 22 is about midway down 2025 is it's Turtle Beach. And it's listed as phase 1 and 2. So 25, we have phase 1 and 2, and 26, we have phase 2 and 2. And Mr. Barry Stevens would like to make some changes. It was discussed in the road shop yesterday, and I believe road shop recommended jury consider the change today to change Turtle Beach 2025 Turtle Beach phase 1 and 2 to Little Flock phase 2 of 2, completion of Little Flock. 26 phase 2 of 2 of Turtle Beach will become phase 1 of 2 of Turtle Beach. And then with other funds, phase 2 of 2 of Turtle Beach will be handled with other funds at a later date.
Make that motion. Oh, you want me to make it?
Mother, it's
So
your
I'm
road.
just gonna mention, we've done some repairs to Turtle Beach that we got from some oil field settlement money. So it's extended its life a bit. By making this change, I think I can get both roads done in a 3-year period. Whereas if we don't, then Little Flock ain't gonna get there for 10 years. So,
I thought once they were on the PTA list, they were on the PTA list.
well, you just changed it the last meeting, you changed one of Randy's, so I guess not.
Do what now?
We just changed one of Randy's roads
Oh,
last meeting.
Let me call your list, if you don't mind, I can't find mine.
And basically what you're saying is because some funds became available to do this, you can use those funds and Bobby has
It gives us a chance
to put on
manage
transportation.
our.
Right.
manage our district.
Okay, I can understand that. I think that's an exception too.
Right.
On,
Yeah.
speak,
over.
excuse me, but speaking of a Burge deal you were commenting on, he had, dedicated funds to that road, but the oil field ended up doing his, so
Just
he
like-
redirected,
Maneuvered
and
it
so,
to another road.
yes.
Same
And we're
thing.
kind
So
of the
it-
same thing.
And that's
Yeah.
basically what you're doing is the same thing.
I see that.
So you're not actually taking Turtle Beach off, you're backing it up a year.
The funding.
The funding.
Right.
And, I guess here next week or so, we're gonna have to have we'll have our road shop committee meeting. And we really need to look at this priority list. And discuss it, because according to the funding and the monies that we have in this fund, we probably just stay with what list we have now and don't add any more again this year till we get those roads. Because there's no sense of adding roads on there that you don't have money
We
to
got
do.
no money. We've got a moratorium on that road. We haven't
So-
added any since
Right.
I've seen this.
And a lot of those roads are going to take our oil sand, which we will knock out,
Right.
pretty good
So you're
next
gonna
year. So
change the list.
So I'm
It's a
just,
working document, really.
right,
Y'all keep paying for that $100
And
insurance,
so-
you gonna cut all our ass off.
as,
It'll be like regular road. So I'll make that motion that,
You change it.
it changed. I'll second.
okay. Got a motion by Barry, second by Bruce. All in favor? All opposed? All right, motion carries 8-0-1. All right. Item 23E is consider approval of corporate endeavor agreement with the Village of Converse to overlay North Diwali Street. That's in my district.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Byrd, second by Bo. All in favor? All opposed? That motion carries 8-0-1. I keep wanting to write 8-1-0. Item 23F to consider approving repairs to the parish-wide grade all with the American Rescue Act fund, the ARPA funds.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion by Bo, second by Bruce. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item 24 is authorize a corporate endeavor agreement between the Sabine Parish Police Jury and the Louisiana Department of Veterans Affairs. The Louisiana Department of Veterans Affairs has forwarded a corporate endeavor agreement to the police jury to provide for a portion of the cost of the operation and maintenance of the Parish Veterans Services Office. So it's something that we do every
We
year.
do that anyway. I make a motion with, enter in that agreement.
What's the price tag on that?
We got $1,400 a month.
Got a motion by, any other questions or discussions on this item before? Okay, got a motion by Ruffin, a second by Mr. Byrd. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Item 25 is a capital improvement priority program priority list, 3 years, 25, 26, 27. That's the one that,
We fund, ain't it, out of our
Yeah, that's just,
yeah,
tax.
this
One we're not adding to.
jurors are reminded that the jury needs to adopt the 3-year Parish Transportation Act priority list for the road for the years of 2025, 26, and 27. And this must be done prior to January 2025 in order to comply with the PTA Act. So we'll discuss it
Yeah, but
next.
we may have to add something for 2027, because we don't have any roads on there to comply with this.
We will,
need to add
what we done last year, but we'll look at it in committee. What we done last year is we just broke them down and spread them out.
some up.
And then if you do finish your projects in 2025, you can bring a 26 up and do it, correct? Yeah, so we'll look at that.
Yeah.
All right, item 26.
Make a motion.
second.
Motion by Bo, second by Mr. Ruff, and as to authorize payment of approved bills. Got a, all in favor? All opposed? Number 27 is appropriate and transfer sales tax for October operations of $450,000.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Bo, second by Ramirez. All in favor? All opposed? All right, motion carries. Committee meetings. You got any reports from committee? Let me look. I think we covered all our,
Yes, sir. We covered.
Yes.
Operation.
I think we got it all covered, ain't
That's it.
All right, no committee. Bo, you got anything in committees?
Operation.
Cemetery's good, courthouse good.
All right, moving on. Item 29 is operations. Mr. Hughes, you want to address us with operations?
You all have your list of permits that have been issued, citations, and current
PTA list. Take a look at it.
Other than that, the only thing I wanna say is that yesterday we got a phone bill. It's finally here.
Good deal.
It's not simple, it's not constructive, but we have it. So,
How long is it gonna take?
wow.
Is that right?
But we got it. We got it. It's up to us now.
I think it's a
They
little
have-
bigger than expected.
Do they have people that help?
We got it.
Not even a consultant?
We got it.
All right.
We got it.
You got some directions.
I have some thoughts that I'll share with y'all after the meeting, but yeah, we got it. We get it.
That's good.
So how many truckloads was it?
418 wins.
Oh, we took more for me.
Put it together, Bob, Alan.
We're
I
gonna
got
have it.
some I'd like
We'll be expecting some oil sand Monday.
to- we got the contract.
Okay.
I think you can go back over there, and come back. Yes.
You got anything? Mr. Rutherford, you want to address us on
Yes, we've been dealing with Gage to get the contract for the sale of the landfill gases. We finally got that executed and it's in place.
good.
So that's.
That's
okay,
been a
so they've
long,
started, we'll start, that'll be an income stream.
That'll be an income
that's
stream.
been a long drawn out deal too, hasn't it?
How much income did you predict?
They're predicting whenever it's in place, fully production, about $1 million a year.
I don't see it making that, but I
Oh,
sure hope Bill's
Get
right.
that white rock.
Give us a road.
$2 gas, that's a lot of gas comes out of that trash.
Give me your part. That'll work.
I make a motion with adjourn.
The land purchase, wait a second, I got a question.
The land purchase, I've got a draft copy yesterday of the cash sale deed. I expect that to be in place by the end of the month.
Perfect. Thank you.
So our 3 big projects we've been working on, they're coming to fruition.
Hey,
Good. Any other comments, questions? All right, Bo,
Make a
number
motion with
30.
adjourn.
A motion by Bo, second by Ruff. All in favor? All opposed? Is that a nay on you, Bo?
That was a nay on me.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Ronnie, you ever watch, what was that?